So, about a month ago, I was asked to be interviewed on the Unruly Entrepreneur podcast with Andrea Crowder. Such a great podcast. And she interviewed me on being an expander for others. It was such a great conversation. So, I wanted to share it here with you guys, and I hope you enjoy.
Welcome to the Obsessed or Not Interested podcast. I am your host, Mindy Wender-Quario, and I'm a small town go-to girl next door who is obsessed with helping others see more for themselves so they can thrive in all areas of life. I love researching all the things like wellness, mindset, relationships, you name it. If I'm obsessed with it, I get hyper-focused on it and I research the crap out of it, and then I share it with you. If those are things that you're also obsessed with, then keep listening and let's become new best friends. First of all, Mindy Wender, welcome to the Unruly Entrepreneur podcast.
Thank you, Andrea Crowder, for having me. It's an honor.
Okay, you guys. So Mindy Wender so I signed up for Beachbody in 2011 and I was on Mindy Wender's team, but she didn't know me. And so she was like leading the team trainings and stuff. And I remember when I first signed up, I hadn't really seen much from you except for I was added to your Facebook page. And I was like, maybe I can make like $250 a month or something like that to pay my student loan bills. And that was my big dream. And I remember after that, and I saw like the big vision of what was possible first through you and then many other people. I was like, you guys, you got to dream big. And then I remembered, wait, that's not how I started. I started dreaming really small and then I let the dream grow. Dream small enough to start. And then I let the dream grow. So you were that first expander for me where you were leading team calls and you're like, I'm just a small town girl from a town of like what did you say? I can't even remember. Like
a couple thousand
a
or
couple
less.
thousand people. And I'm just like, where am I going to find people? And you're like, I don't know. I live in a town of a couple thousand people. And I'm like, oh,
Figure it out.
okay. So she can do it with like 2,000 people in her town or whatnot. I can do it. And then you had Lane at the time. You hadn't had Lily yet, but you were a new mom too. And I was a mom of small children who were, I think like 5 and 7 or something like that at the time. I can't remember. But you were the expander of like success as a mother and being able to create wealth for your family. And I remember hearing you say for the first time that you're making $2,000 a week. And I'm like, my brain would break. $2,000 a week, like couldn't conceptualize. But instantly I was like, well, if Mindy, who has like no education, I'm just like giving your whole bio for you, by the way. I was
Cool.
like, you don't need to tell anybody anything. I'll just tell your whole story for you. But I remember looking at it and I'm like, okay, if she's a new mom, she's from a small town, she used social media to figure everything out, and she has no formal education around this. If she can make $2,000 a week in online business, I can make $2,000 a week in online business. And you didn't even know me, but I was just like, I'm just going to do exactly what she did. And I remember thinking, if I could just go sit next to her, if I could be laptop to laptop, then I'll know the secrets and
Yeah.
just watch you do all the things. So welcome to the Unruly Entrepreneur. And I wanted to talk about like different expanders that have been really important to you and how you've continued to bridge success doing really well in network marketing and then starting your own online personal development brand as well. So first of all, again, welcome to the show. Hi.
Thank you for having me, Andrea. Really appreciate that. Thank you for
Also my
telling
drinking buddy.
Yes. Yes. But now you're not drinking, right?
No,
And
not
I'm not
yet.
either right now.
How
Anyway.
funny.
Yeah, I haven't really drank at all this year, but it's definitely 90 days. But anyways, so no more, we'll just have to have tea together when we see each other. But we were
Yeah.
drinking buddies. Thanks for telling my backstory as well, because that is what you said. That has always been on my heart, because when I first started in network marketing, what held me back a little bit is that I'm somebody who is naturally thin, but that doesn't equal fit, of course. But I just was looking at, there's a group of people that were all fitness professionals. You know what I mean? They looked like fitness professionals. They were like teaching fitness classes. And then I saw a group of people that had a huge weight loss transformation. And I had none of these things. I didn't have the network. I wasn't a fitness professional. I wasn't fit even, and I didn't have the weight loss. So I think when I started to just do things my own way, even though I remember even the company asking me to speak on calls, but they're like, don't say you do this, because they didn't want to they wanted it to be like blanket for everyone to use. And I was using social media, and not everybody was at that time. Now, this was 15 years ago.
Right.
And I remember being like, I can't be fake. You know how I am, Andrea. I can't be fake. I have to just like, don't ask me to speak then, because I don't even know what I'd say. So
Right.
I just like, no, I gotta just shoot people straight, because I want them to, I always wanted to be the girl that showed others like you
Mm-hmm.
that if I can do this, I'm nothing special. Of course, we're all special, but I'm nothing special. If I can do this, you can do this, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of like what my brand was, I guess, because I was the underdog and the small town girl and didn't have all these other things going for me. So I was like, I just wanted to shout it on the rooftops, like to help as many people as I possibly could to know you don't have to be all these things. You don't have to be a blonde bombshell, or you don't have to be a
Yeah.
fitness professional. You can do this and just be you.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you saying that, and my whole backstory for me.
I love that too, because it's so easy to build evidence of what you're not in the opposite direction of where you're trying to go. And like your mind lean towards, okay, none of this is true. And I'm thinking this would be useful and I don't have it. So what do I have? Like what
Exactly.
was there like a training that where you're just like, oh, I that just like put that into your mind or
Well, I think what happened is that my mentor, Janelle, asked me to speak at a live event, which a live event at that time was probably like 50 people in a living room or 20 people in the living room. I don't know. But I was
Mhm.
scared to death. I was like sweaty and I'm like, I'm shy. I can't do this. But she told me people want to know what you're doing because it's so different and that it might help them. And then I'm like, okay, I'll do this and I'll be uncomfortable and I'll be scared to death and sweating as long as I know that room of people, of a couple handful of people, is going to get served by my message. So I
Mhm.
stood up on her staircase. So I was elevated in her living room and I shared just what I was doing. It was nothing special, but I was just sharing what I was doing. And so many people came up to me after speaking. So this, I guess, was that light bulb moment for me. So many people in that room came up and they're like picking my brain, and they were just really, something I said resonated with them and I didn't know why. And then Trina Gray, who is somebody who I very, really respect her. She is such a great leader. She's great at business. She has all the things. She's the fitness professional. Owns a business. She is a public speaker. She has all the things. And she came up to me, and she was not doing anything with her business at that time. And so this person who I really looked up to came up to me and was just so complimentary. She's like, what you said hit me hard. And from that point forward, something I said in that room made her actually activate something in her to make her take off in her business. And she became one of the, and still is one of the top leaders in that business. And so I think after I left that day, that was the moment. Like you're asking me what was the training or the moment, was just me doing it, even though I was scared to death,
Mhm.
sharing with other people, even though all those people were probably making more money than I was, and
Right.
knowing that it made a difference. I was like, oh, so just being me and
Mhm.
running my own race and doing things my own way, that works. And I can help people by sharing that.
That works and I can keep doing that. Like you've been at this, like you said, for 15 years.
Right.
Before social media was like social media, where people were making like millions of dollars in like their first 6 months in online business. Some of these anomalies who
Right.
are just like $50 million in 5 years. What?
Right. And you know what? I think it's just like social media just unlocks so much. So especially now in
Yeah.
2024, if you're listening to this later, it's probably even more. But it's just wild what is the possibilities that there are earning an income online and doing whatever it is your thing is, like whatever you love. And that's another thing I think that really worked for me 15 years ago and today. You know, for the last 15 years, and even now when I'm launching, in the last couple of years, I launched even a new brand. It's that I have to get, and you're like me, I feel like, Andrea, we have to be passionate. We have to love what we're doing. We have to have fun. We have to be excited. Otherwise, we're bored and we're on to the next.
Yeah.
So that's what's so beautiful, I think, with social media then and now is that social media is a level playing field for everybody. You can figure out what it is your thing is, be yourself, and run with that and make a killing online right now.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay, so who would you say would be when you're looking to like do something new? Who would you say, or how do you find that person where you're like, okay, I can use them as like a model, and this model would actually motivate me versus demotivate me? Because I know some, like, even for me, sometimes I'm like, I'm super, super sharp with like my mental mindset. And sometimes I see someone and I'm like, I'm just kind of demotivated because it doesn't feel possible for me in the way that they're doing it. Like, how do you find that next expander for you to be able to do something completely new?
I think it is really easy to get stuck in like, okay, that's too far out. So even with the clients I work with, it's too far out for them. So they need something like you were saying, like $200 for groceries and this and that when you started your
Yeah,
business.
right.
Also, it's just can be comparison can hold you back. The comparison of looking at to other people, like for example, when I look at you and you're doing something similar as my new brand that I'm doing, like mentoring people online, serving people in the personal growth space, helping people with goal setting, all that stuff. And I look to you, we're so different and we always have been, but we work so well together.
Yeah.
And it's like we have different messaging, different audience, different things, but like you're so down to earth and real. So I
Mhm.
think for me, whatever this is for that person, for you, but for me, I need somebody who's authentic. So if I'm looking at somebody who's just like, oh, we're getting ready for church and brushing the daughter's hair and they're all done up, there is nothing wrong with this brand. I'm just saying, if I'm looking to that person who's so buttoned up and has their shit completely together and
Right.
they're just, to me, that doesn't resonate with me. But when I
Mhm.
look to somebody, let's just say like you, Andrea, you resonate with me because even though we're different, you show up authentically as yourself and
Mhm.
you have a great sense of humor about things. So I think when you're looking to other people online and where to get motivated, make sure you're not looking to somebody just because it looks good and they
Right.
got their shit together and it's pretty and their Instagram feed is so pretty and like aesthetically pleasing. Unless that's your jam. Of course, if that's your jam, that's great. It's just not mine. I want
Right.
somebody who's real, who cares about people. Their messaging makes you feel some sort of way, not just like makes you feel like if their messaging is making you feel less than or like I cannot do this, then I would say I'm not inspired by that.
No. Mm-mm.
And then when I'm working with people, I also say, like you said, I always do when I do my goal setting, and you know this because you probably heard me talk about this a million times. I do long-term goals, but then I do short-term goals.
Yeah.
Because that's how my ADHD brain works.
Mhm.
I need to know what I'm focused on in 90 days. I have the vision, I have the long-term, but okay, let's get my ADHD on track. Let's focus on
Mhm.
what we're going to do in the next 90 days. And I feel like that's why I mean, I think our brains are similar in that sense. Or do you have ADHD, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And I think that might be, and you don't have to have ADHD to be successful. But what happens is you can get really hyper focused, like the
Yeah.
sign if you've seen the video. I have a sign over my head, but we get really hyper focused. But I can teach you how to do that. And this is what I did for 15 years with my network marketing business, is I would teach people how to break down those goals, reverse engineer them to small, but then get hyper focused on just a couple goals. Because when you do that, you 10x your goals. And
Yep.
this is what I've noticed with you that you really get honed in on and focused on something. And that's why it 10x's. And I'm not saying that success happened for you overnight or me overnight or anything like this, but when you get hyper focused, you can literally 10x your goals in collapse time. So I
Mhm.
love that. Anyways, I went off on a tangent. Did that answer your question?
Well, I like the tangent because I think it's actually become super underrated to do traditional goal setting. And I think that you know, we're now in a new season, especially in the coaching industry, where it's just like manifest, and like we forget that we have these physical bodies that actually crave motion and crave being engaged with the product or with the process. And you know, from an unconscious mind perspective, you breaking it down into these short-term goals, inner mind won't give us the energy for something that it perceives as impossible. And if we put too much energy towards such a big goal, it's like you're gonna short out your energy, you're gonna compromise the energy of the system, you're gonna crash the system. So absolutely not. And it will distract you. And all of a sudden you don't know why you're folding laundry, you don't know why you can't get motivated. No, clear vision that feels possible precedes motivation from a very, very physiological experience that we have in our body. And so I love that you're just like, no, hi, old school goal setting is still like, where'd you learn that, Brian Tracy?
Oh, a
I
lot
still
of
love
different
Brian,
people, but Brian Tracy, yeah, you're right. Brian Tracy, you probably heard me say this a million times, but
the OG.
Brian Tracy was my first book that I read. It was called Goals, and it's so old school, but I'm telling
Yeah.
you, I don't do it's so old school. I tweak things and I make it me.
Yeah.
And you know, after 15 years, I've literally been obsessed with goal setting. Do not miss a week,
Yeah.
like rewriting my goals. It makes a huge difference in your life. But one thing that Brian Tracy taught, and a lot of these people, and I don't know if it's old school or people are still doing it now, but I just can't do it. My brain does not operate like this. And a lot of the people I work with feel the same. I used to write, and you probably heard me say this to you, but I don't know, but I used to write them as in the present tense, like I already achieved that.
Yeah.
And I just don't operate some things, if like you said, like my short term, I can see myself doing that, then maybe I will. But if it's like 5 years from now and it just doesn't make sense, like you're saying, your
Hmm.
subconscious is no, that's
Rejecting it. Hmm.
yes.
Hmm.
So I have to say that's who I'm becoming. And I actually have to get my mind and like close my eyes and get myself into, okay, I am here now. I need to see me where my future self is going. Who am I becoming? And write goals in that sense. Poof, it will get you butterflies in your belly because you're like, okay, I'm not here yet. Like I have goosebumps talking about it. So if you're not there yet, but you know, hell yes, that is my future self I'm talking to. That is my future life that I'm visualizing right now. It's happening for me. And so it just makes it more believable. Yeah, the old school way was just like, I am a millionaire when you're friggin', I was on state assistance. Dude, my
Right.
brain wasn't wrapped that. My brain was not getting wrapped around that goal whatsoever.
I do remember learning that when I first started network marketing, and I was just like, I would write, I am a diamond coach in my journal every single week because you told me writing it every single week. I actually got out of the pattern and I'm like, shit, I need to get back to that. That felt so good to sit down and like sit with your goals. I do it in an aspect because we have team meetings every single week and my team holds the vision of the things that I've set and we check in on them in some capacity. But so that's actually why I named my new subscription offer Legend in the Making, was because I knew somebody couldn't identify as being a legend because I don't even identify. I'm just like, well, what does that even mean? It means like you're at the top of the hill. And I don't think I don't think there is a top of the hill. But if I'm
Right.
always in the making, then I can realign, I can make legendary decisions consistently that impact my business.
So
Then I
smart.
can think like that. And so, yeah, that it was very intentional that we named it like that. And
Yeah, I
so,
love that. I
mhm.
love that.
Okay. So tell us about the pivot. Were there like big fears of going from like one career to something? I mean, it's not so far of a departure, but it is a creation of a new brand. Like what came up for you?
Well, I was doing a 40-day detox in 2022, at the end of 2022, and God had been putting it in my heart to write this, like you were talking about earlier, how you do the journaling with God
Yeah.
and you kind of write things. So I will read my Bible, I pray, I journal because I want to see what's coming up from God. Like, where do you want my life to go? I was just in this state. So that's why I did a 40-day detox. No drinking, no sugar, no gluten. Sounds lame, but then I added exciting things. So then I thought it was fun. So it's like, I'm going to go in my sauna and I'm going to do this. Like I added things that would benefit me, which part of that was journaling. One of those
Yeah.
things I added. So I'm doing this 40-day detox and I had gotten off my game with being so consistent with my goals. Like you said, I had them written and I would check in on them and stuff, but I was like wanting to get back to Mindy effing Wender, where I was like on my game and I was writing on my goals and I was driven. I wanted to feel that again. And so I started doing that, my goals, journaling, praying, all that stuff. And what kept coming up is new ideas. That was different than what I was currently doing with just network, not just network marketing, but starting a new brand. That's what just kept coming up, that I wanted to serve more people. Because what I did with network marketing, and currently still am doing, by the way, is that I develop training series, I mentor women, but I gatekeep it for just those people. And so really what I'm doing is just open that up. So now I can help people, because not network marketing isn't for everyone. If it is, I'm your girl and I can help you. But if it's not, I'm also, you know what I mean? There's mentors. I just wanted to open it up to be able to serve more people. And serve my people that I click with, even if they didn't want to join. And so, okay, so I'm journaling, doing all this stuff, and it kept coming up that I wanted to do this coaching and course. I wanted to develop courses, and I drew out a map in my journal. And so Andrea knows this about me, but for the listeners, I'm a Disney freak, obsessed with Disney World. So I drew out a picture of Magic Kingdom. So for those of you not familiar, Magic Kingdom is designed so perfectly by Walt Disney. And there's a hub, which is the castle. And then it's like a hub and spokes. So the hub, and then you have Main Street as a spoke, Adventureland, all the different lands, Fantasyland. So I wrote out Magic Kingdom's plan and I was the hub. And then I filled out all the different spokes. So before I was like, I am only this one thing, which was network marketing. And then that Magic Kingdom drawing expanded my vision for my life. And it just opened up like my mind, like, oh, I can be like Magic Kingdom. There's more to me than just the Main Street USA. I can have all these different spokes and I'm the hub. So then on day 39 of my detox, and I was so freaking on fire to start all these new things and create a physical product and do all these things, right? And then we had a house fire on day 39 of my 40-day detox. I was like, this has to mean, like, what is happening? Like, I feel like life is always happening for me, not to me. So I try to find the lessons. I try to find God's winks. I'm just like, what is happening? And our house is burning down in front of our faces. And we're sitting in the car. And we have 5 children. And and 2 of those kids have autism, by the way, have special needs. So getting everybody out and our animals out, we're sitting in the car and my children are watching everything that they own. They literally sleep in underwear. So majority of my kids were like sitting in their underwear. That's all they had left. Everything, lost everything. And they're watching their house burn down. And they said, oh, let's all pray. Let's all pray that God spared our family, that God saved us. They were just filled. I got goosebumps again. My kids just, yeah, their hearts of gratitude. And it makes me my kids are so great. Hey, like just, what good kids. And they're just like, thank you so much, God, for saving my family. And Lane's like, thank you for saving my sister and my brother. Thank you for like all this stuff. And then they're like, the firefighters show up and then they start praying over the firefighters. And in that moment, yes, they start praying over the firefighters because they're like, they're going to go into the house. I hope they don't get hurt. Let's all pray to God about the firefighters. And so obviously I couldn't sleep that night. And so in that moment and through the next 24 hours after that, I had this plan. And now my house just burned down and I'm going to be sleeping in a 3-bedroom cottage with 7 people, 2 dogs and 2 cats. How am I going to launch all the things that I wanted to launch and do all the things that I wanted to do? And I said to myself, I don't. Now, by the way, these things have been on my mind for probably 5 years. But in that 40-day detox, when I was really getting like listening for God's voice, I was really inspired. Okay, I'm going to actually do it finally. And the house fire happened and I could have easily just said, screw it. No way, because I had an out. You know what I mean? I'll wait till I move into the new house. I'll wait till life gets easier. I'll wait till I'm done dealing with insurance. You know how that goes, Andrea. That's a job in itself. But I
Mhm.
decided I was not going to let the devil win and hold me down. I was going to do all the things. And it actually, the fire inspired me. So the turning point for me, there was fear holding me back for 5+ years to branch out and do more of the things that I love and bring me life. And that fire, that house fire is what really was like the turning point for me to actually make the move.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Anybody else would have been like, that's not happening. Like, and you're just like, oh, fuel for the flame, literally and metaphorically. What
Yeah,
the fuck? My house fire was like that too. It's so weird what parallel lives that we're living with, like
I
the
know.
divorce and then the house fire and then stopping drinking even at the same time. I stopped at the beginning of the year too, just intuitively. So yeah, that's crazy. Okay. So, and now you have a journal, right? Or a planner.
Yes, so I call it a journal too, because like you said, that's what started this, is that I started journaling. And
Hmm.
so in that sauna, I call it like in my sauna sessions in the morning, that's when I did my morning routine, the reading the Bible, the praying, the journaling, the goal setting, all the things that I just talked about. And so God put it on my heart because I was mapping out all the things. I was doing affirmations daily, rewriting my hyper focused goals, doing all these things and having to write it out every single day and then journal. And I was doing this in multiple different notebooks. So I wanted to create it for myself. And then God put it on my heart during the 39-day detox. Actually, I finished up the 40 days, by the way. I could have had a cocktail on day 40 and nobody would have judged me after my house fire. I held
Yeah.
out until the 40 days. So I created that very, very shortly after that. Obviously, it takes a while to create a physical product and stuff, but I started immediately after my fire, I started to create. And when I get creative, it's like hyper focus mode. And so I got
Hmm.
like that. So now I created the hyper focus journal based off of 15 years of the goal setting, tweaking it, adding journaling to my life has been life changing. And I put it all in this journal because here's the other reason. I was using all these other planners that I'm sorry if this works for other people. So my journal might not be for you if you're somebody that likes the stickers and you like to have all the colors and you're really creative in your journaling and you like it to take a long time. Like your morning routine, you have like 30 minutes for that. I don't got 30 minutes for that. I got probably 3 to 5 minutes tops for my morning
Hmm.
routine. So I'm like, I don't want the fluff. I don't want the BS. I have ADHD. Let's just get hyper focused and do do our crap, and then get the kids off to school and get our workouts and work our businesses. So that's really what I created for. It's not for everybody, for somebody who wants all the things, the bells and whistles. It's definitely not that. It's the most basic planner you will ever see, but it's really freaking effective. It will help you 10x your goals. And Andrea, because I'm like the goal setting girly from forever, forever now.
Ever.
But that's the system, the same exact system that we've been talking about, for years, but also that we've been talking about on this podcast. That's basically a 5-step process. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated, and any freaking person can do it.
One of the things I want to emphasize about the story that you just told is I really keyed in when you said I finished the 40 days, and like a 39 out of 40 is really amazing. So, but what you signified to your brain is the things that matter to me to have done, I'm a finisher. Like
Mhm.
you're like, I'm gonna collect every ounce of gifts and reward that I can get out of finishing this. And you just like really emphasize to your mind that like nothing can stop me from finishing. And I love that because it would have been so reasonable to have not done that. I'm like, would I have done that? Probably not. But that's one thing that I've always loved about you. And I love that you actually just said that because in my head, I'm like, how do you find time for all of this? And now you just told me you don't. You 3 to 5 minutes. Because
Mhm.
I don't even have little kids anymore. And somehow I'm just like, my dogs really take up my whole morning routine.
I feel that. Too. Yeah, well, the thing is, like, I have 5 kids, and just real quick, I have 5 kids. So I'm remarried after divorce. So I have 3 biological children and then 2 stepchildren. And I have 2 of those kids, my biological children, my 2 youngest, Lily and Hudson, have special needs. So my morning routine went from being 3 kids, and 2 of them I don't even know after divorce. So were they in school? I think I was doing in-home therapy with, anyways, now my routine in the morning goes from making 2 lunches, making everyone breakfast, and then having to bring 5 kids to 4 different schools. Obviously, I'm from a small town,
Right.
so we're in the vicinity, but it's like a 2-hour routine. So what
Wow.
I realized is that being a mom, being an entrepreneur, mentoring other people, having other people relying on me, I don't want to show up scattered, and also having ADHD. I don't want to feel scattered every single day. I don't want to be like a chicken with my head cut off, running all over here and there and whatever. Now, when I clean, that is the most effective way to clean. I'm in the kitchen, then the bathroom, then the bedroom. But with my life, the scattered ain't it. Because here's what happens for me, and I don't know, maybe I'm like guilty of this, and I don't know if anybody else is, but I get short with my kids. I get short. I'm not on my game when I'm on a podcast or when I'm mentoring somebody else or whatever it is. I am not on my game when I don't do my morning routine now. And so I didn't feel that way prior to the 40-day detox, mind you, because I was so out of my morning routine schedule and rituals and stuff. So I didn't even notice that my life was like, I didn't notice I needed it. And then when I started it back up, and then if I skip a day, I feel naked. You know what I
Right.
mean? I feel naked without it, and I feel like short with my kids, like I said. And so what this does, it just gets my brain, it's like, oh my God, it's like almost like somebody letting you have a brain break and like massaging your brain and like letting your thoughts relax, because you're getting
Mhm.
it, everything that's up here, you're able to get it down and have a plan and a vision for your day. And it doesn't always go as planned, but you at least know you're not going to forget because it's written down, and you can put it on tomorrow. Like you
Yeah.
could just put it on tomorrow or even
Right.
next day. But getting it all out of your head, because here's me, I'm just like, oh yeah, I got to do that. Okay, I can't forget Lane's baseball bag. Okay, I
Mhm.
got to go to this practice. I have to get on this call with this person. I don't know if I could do it without having my journal, and or even if somebody doesn't want to get the journal, having a routine, whatever that
Right.
is for you. My routine, it's just, I like that it's all done for you. So I don't have to like write it out like I was doing during my detox. It's like, okay, affirmations, fill that out. Gratitude, okay, fill that out. Talk goals, fill that out. It's just done, you
Mhm.
know? And then also in the journal, I'm like huge again on routines, but I like to do personal growth every single day. I like to listen to a podcast every single day. Like this podcast right here is freaking money. And so I just want to say, I listen to your podcast. So that's how I know. And so this is free content. Everyone, listen to podcasts. It is free. You are
Yeah.
literally getting, like Andrea and I, when we first started, when we were living less than paycheck to paycheck, I would have died for this content
Yeah.
that was available. To have a mentor, like you said, if I could just put my laptop next to you and work, it's
Right.
like that's basically what people are getting by tuning into your podcast or other podcasts. So
Yeah.
in the daily routine, it's like podcast, reading, working out, drinking water, and steps. That's it. And it's just little icons. So you don't have to write those things out. You just circle once you get them done. And it's like boom, boom, boom. Your life is on track. It literally brings so much peace, clarity, and calmness into your life having that. So I mean, obviously you can tell I'm very passionate about it. And I'm also like a mom, like you guys have to do this. You have to do this. I'm telling you, it will change your life.
It's so simple, and it's like and I like that you just made it so accessible for people too. And people like my coaching rate is not inexpensive. Like it's over $1,700 for an hour of my time. And you want to know what I work on all the time with clients is when they feel that chaos in their minds, and I'm just sitting there like, did you put it all on a piece of paper?
Yeah.
Sometimes somebody has to pay me $1,700 to say that.
But
And
guess what? It's worth the $1,700 that they paid you, because I bet
right.
you it transforms their life.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like a chaotic pinball in your mind when you
Yes.
let it just float around expecting that you're going to remember it. Your inner mind just like holds it and holds it and holds it, and it draws energy from you, and then you get short and depleted, short in focus, short in emotional capacity for the people around you, short for yourself. The self like the berating, the inner dialogue, the inner critic comes out hardcore really easily. I have a journal too for my Amore Money program. And one of the things that we put in there is when people have emergencies. I did this with my house fire because I was like feeling the pinball going ding, 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 ding. Don't forget, don't forget. And it's just all so new. And so I have pages in here, and just at the top of the page, people are told, write it down, write everything out of your brain, and then hold the journal and just say, I thought it had me, now I have it. And
Yes.
it's like
Love
your mind
that.
is like, I'm holding it. I have it out here. It doesn't have me anymore. I have it. I'm in control. And that's such a fucking game changer.
It is. And I love how you just said now you're in control
Yeah.
because I call those brain dumps. So I have a page in there and it's just like, now brain dump it all on paper. There's 3 pages for them to brain dump ideas, like after you write out your goals, to just brain dump all the ways that you can get there. Because something happens too when you get it out on paper, you get control, like you just said. And then also you get peace, clarity, calmness, but then you also can have ideas of how to tackle that situation or how to, if it's a goal, you come up with ideas like, oh, I wouldn't have even thought of it if I didn't force myself to put this brain dump that's in my head
Right.
and put it all on paper.
Hmm.
It's magical. So I think also too, working with you, like I would be like, I was just talking with Tara Bilek about this. Sometimes people just need somebody to tell
Yeah.
them, hey, write it down, but also to brain dump ideas onto somebody else because they need your feedback to come back on them. And you developed like one of your best ideas will come from having a mentor to bounce ideas back and forth with.
Hmm.
It's amazing. So yeah, I'm all about one-on-ones with Andrea Crowder. Sign me up for real.
Don't get me wrong. I do more than that. But yeah, sometimes it's the simple things. And a client will say to me like, "Gosh, I can't believe I didn't think about that." I know that. It's like the inner knowingness is there, of course, and then like we start to critique ourselves of like, "Why didn't I think of that?" And I'll tell you, it's because when something is happening in our life and it feels essentially overwhelming or potentially threatening to us, we might feel anxiety, and anxiety is just a sign of our inner mind perceiving external threat. What happens is in the mind is the mind blows up the threat, making it really big so that our peripheral vision doesn't get distracted. So if fox is chasing rabbit's inner mind doesn't want rabbit seeing carrots and slowing down for a snack so that fox can catch up and have rabbit for snack. So all of a sudden rabbit goes blind to the stuff on the side that would normally be interesting and appetizing, and all it focuses on is like running from threat. So threat gets really big, making you extremely focused on one thing, blind to everything else. And that's happening automatically without your permission and for you. And yet that's why you didn't think of it on your own. That's why we need we expanders, mentors, people who aren't in a state of fight or flight, who are grounded, who can say, "Hey, have you thought about?" Because we actually have the peripheral vision on and we can see more capacity than you. So, yeah, that's not to say like anybody should be able to think of all those things when they're in a state of stress. You actually shouldn't. You're just like automatically not designed to. You're focused on what you need to be focused on. It's just little teeny tweaks have the opportunity to get changed. I like that you have this like outside physical anchor for people to help do that.
For sure. And by the way, we all like you need a mentor, I need a mentor, we all do
Yeah.
because we all get in our own heads. Like we're human.
Right.
It's
Right.
just it's the way we are. I mean, when you have experience and you've done it before and you're watching and you see other people are doing it, like you said, expanders, it makes it a little bit easier with time, but you still need somebody there to bounce ideas off of and to,
Absolutely.
yeah, all of
Yep.
it's great.
Same, same, same. Yeah. No, I have a mentor and I'm constantly looking for like different expanders and people in my life to just help me see things different. I remember one time I just saw somebody say like just bundle your offers and like do a weekend sale. And I'm like, why have I never thought of that? And then I had like my first like $20,000 cash weekend bundling old offers that I didn't want to do solo launches anymore. And I was just like, what? Why couldn't I think of that on my own?
That's so smart.
Who cares? Who cares why I couldn't have? I'm just glad I did it.
Yeah, exactly. Who cares of the why? Let's just get moving.
Let's just do it now. It's time. Okay.
Oh, I love
So, where do people get the journal? Where do people find you?
Okay. You can find me on Instagram. It's at Mindy Wender. You can get the journal. It's called hyperfocusmentor.com. Otherwise, just go to mindywender.com. That's also easy. And then, yeah, that's about it. I'm Mindy Wender everywhere. So just put that in the old Googler. You'll find me.
That Mindy Winder. Mindy, I love you. I adore you. I appreciate you. You still are one of those people that when I hear you talk, I'm like, I am so fired up and ready to go do shit. So thank you for being that like fire energy for me and so many people.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Seriously, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Obsessed or Not Interested podcast. I love connecting with you on social media. So if you guys want, please shoot me a DM at either our podcast Instagram, which is at Obsessed or Not Interested, or even my personal Instagram, which is at Mindy Wender. I check them both, so either is fine. Oh, and truly, if this has helped you even 1%, if you could do me a huge solid and leave me a rating and review, that would mean the world to me. When you guys do that, here's why I really love it. It's because it helps the podcast be able to reach more women who want and need this. So truly, that is like the best compliment you could ever give me, is just leaving ratings and reviews for this podcast. Anything that I talked about in today's episode, any links or resources, you will find that in the show notes. Thank you for listening to today. Can't wait to chat more in the DMs, and don't forget to tune in next Tuesday.